Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terri-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great Christmas. Welcome to Connections 5.8G Alive. And today is Wednesday, the 29th.
Yes.
Yeah. So I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, one of the co-creators of Connections 50 Plus. And as usual, with me is my colleague.
Hi, everyone. Merry Christmas. Hope it was great. I am Terri-Ann Joseph Brathwaite, the other co-creator. Jennifer, Merry Christmas.
Thank you. I know, you are, when it comes to Christmas, Terri-Ann, I know you're really celebrated. And I know you had double celebration. So how was it?
Oh, it was especially beautiful this year, Jennifer, because I made a real effort to do something special for mom and dad. Mm-hmm. And the family went down with the grandchildren and we had a spread for them for breakfast. And we literally lifted up my father, put him in a wheelchair and carry him downstairs to the table. And
I know you would have loved that, huh? Yes.
Oh, it was just delightful. It was beautiful. Yeah. My mother decided she came up to my house afterwards and hung out with us for the other part of the celebration.
Yeah,
and it was just it was just wonderful. It was great. Long
It's so
day.
nice to be around family for Christmas. And for me, Christmas is really about family. Yeah. You know, celebrating, you give praise, you get up and you don't forget, of course, what it's all about. The celebration is all about. So start Christmas with a praise and give thanks.
So Jennifer, and you had your Boxing Day family shindig. How was it?
Beautiful. It is always so nice, as I said before, to have family. My family is small, Terri-Ann, you know, it's not like you know, what you say, you have a hototo family, and my family is small. So it's just about the gathering, it's just about 6 of us, which was good enough. Really nice, my grands and their family. So I enjoy that. And let me tell you, Terri-Ann, I cooked some of the things, but I did some cooking. I did do some ordering. I did some ordering, but I did cooking. I cooked. It was nice. It was beautiful.
And no pictures of the spread, Jennifer. You cooked and there are no pictures.
You know, I didn't think of, and I should have. I don't know.
No, believe me, I didn't take a picture either. So it's okay.
If it have, I will print, but I didn't take it. You know, so it's nice celebrating and continue to celebrate and give thanks. Yeah. You know,
and Jennifer, you know, some of the feedback we got from last week when we talked about it is Christmas, yes, it's pandemic, but we are celebrating Christmas. Yes. It's so important because, as we said before, the tribe, the family is important. And people, if we don't have these gatherings, whether it is Christmas, Easter, Diwali, Eid, Shouta, forgive me if I've left over any other festival, whether it is birthdays, whether it is anniversaries or whatever it is, how are we going to teach and show the young ones how to get together and share stories and keep generations interconnected? And how are we going to do it?
Let me share this to Terri-Ann, and I know this is challenging times because we have to be very curtailed in terms of numbers, etc. But we had a Zoom greetings with the foreigners and some of the locals or my mom, because again, you know, we don't want visitors coming into the home by her. So we had Zoom. So when you talk about family gatherings and storytelling and bringing people together, it don't have to be physically at this stage. And we mentioned that before. We have so many ways we can get together.
Gathering is gathering. Physical, virtual, gathering is gathering.
So you set up a Zoom meeting or virtual, greetings, and that's so nice. Because all the little ones too overseas were on and greeting, and they're so used to it that they're very comfortable in front of the camera.
My thing is, if we don't do it, we are not laying a template so that the younger ones can follow us, and we would be breaking the pattern. So we've got to do it. And it is so important. It is so important. I suppose that's why I make a big fuss about it. But Jennifer, this is the last show of the year.
Yes.
2021 is done.
Imagine. I remembered when we started 2021. Wow. What a year.
Yes, what a year. And so in tribute to that year, this special end of year program, Jennifer and I are going to take a little walk down memory lane, because one of the things we realize is, wow, we have done a lot. We have done a lot with us. We've done a lot with you. We have done a hell of a lot. And sometimes it's good to look back and just remind ourselves of where we are and what we're doing, because that's in preparation for going forward.
Yeah, because we didn't stop at all, Terri-Ann. We continued in spite of everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So we want you all to relax. And you're going to have it in 2 sections. I'm going to be doing one and Jennifer's going to be doing the other. And you are going to take a real fast review of 2021 Connections 50 Plus. And after all that, you're going to get a sneak peek to 2022.
Yep.
Great. Okay, so 2021 dawned January. The first thing we did, we had been talking about laying the foundation in our 3 segments: being in tune with yourself, being dollar savvy, and being in a tribe. And we started off the year with our international collaboration, with our big launch with Action Invest of Guyana. And you all remember we had the live premiere connecting with Action Invest, who are our representatives for our products, our services in Guyana. And we want to send a big shout out to Dr. Vishnu Durga and his entire staff. We knew everybody else. And Michael, of course, Michael Gray, our collaborator. Our work with Guyana continues. And that is one of the things we are so very, very proud about. In January also, having started like that, we also began to focus on the issue of mindset and how important it is. Yeah. And Jen, you know, we continued that mode because it all stays in the mind. And we had 2 very interesting people who showed us, their followers of ours, how they, starting with mindset, totally repositioned themselves. Colette left a long career in the US and relocated to Trinidad and started her life all over again. And Pat, who had spent many, many years in insurance, fulfilled a dream after doing one of our programs and has ventured into an agribusiness, which continues today very, very successfully. So go back to January and look at those shows. We moved from January, the issue of looking at mindsets. And remember, Jennifer, we started to talk about coming out of the mindset, you end up in all kinds of dilemmas. We end up in a quagmire, personal dilemmas, financial dilemmas, community dilemmas, and the whole issue of what do we do about ourselves, because we've said as we go on to this third stage, we have to release the second, all the expectations people have of us. And we looked at, you did a wonderful show about financial solutions, how we prepare ourselves for the second act, all the issues with money, the accountability, the saving, where money can be found. You know, Jennifer, as I was looking at this, I'm thinking that's how we started the year. Look at where we are at the end of the year.
Yeah. Luckily, we started like that to prepare people. Yeah.
Exactly. So we looked at that. We looked at the dilemma of community. How many of us are afraid to reach out? And so many of those themes, I mean, this was before we really locked down. And so many of those issues of community became so important as the pandemic continued.
Yeah.
You know, and how we deal with ourselves. And of course, after all those dilemmas, we had the quagmire of a virtual carnival. And we decided, Jennifer, the backyard jam, where was the jam?
Yes, listen, and we swear we will have been on the streets to this carnival coming. Same thing, we may have to have virtual again.
Yeah, we went into Jennifer's backyard and we had our backyard jam. And of course, it was socially distanced. There were less than 10 people. So February was an interesting month because in March, the lockdown started. Yeah. But we were also doing a lot of work with our entire branding and positioning, and we took you along for the ride. So in February, you were introduced to our new colors. We introduced the beautiful new colors that you are seeing on the screen now. And you got a sneak peek introducing you to the people who were really driving us. And you met Zara Gibbons and you met Richard Young, who came on board and talked about their vision for connections. So we really enjoyed taking you on that journey.
And we had John McKell, who actually did the logo.
Yes.
Designed the logo. Yes.
Yes, because she had done the new website. So we talked about that in March. And then in April, we launched the new brand, the new colors, the new website. And Richard again came on to the whole issue of dreaming, and we got everybody involved in dreaming. And then disaster struck St. Vincent. And Jennifer,
oh yes,
I was really
when
impressed
we go back.
With that ode to St. Vincent that we put out. It really shook the Caribbean because again, it said community and tribe. But the show went on, and in April, we began to roll out a lot of our new material. You got the introduction to all our ads. You see our ads now, the wellness ad, the new videos, the peek into the Caroni. We gave you lots and lots of peeks at all the action that was going on in preparing for our relaunch. And then Jennifer came May 5th, and Wednesday Alive was closed down, and 5.8G Alive with our
came into being
with our current format, and you were introduced to the new theme song. You got to meet Being in Tune, Dollar Savvy, and Tribe. Jennifer, wasn't that whole process of, I mean, we took you went to the bird sanctuary with us. You were in the botanical gardens with us.
It was different. That's where we had to acquire some acting skills, you know, and that's how at the start of the program, you know, all those lovely the photos and us through the river and up Mount St. Benedict and all those beautiful sites we have in Trinidad. Yeah.
You know, and the thing about it is that that whole process really started in February, and it only came, excuse me, into fruition in May. A lot of time and effort to different, and Jennifer, what I so loved about it is that, again, it is showing you that it is possible.
Oh, yes.
How we do it, how we make ourselves professional, and how we get out there. So coming into the new 5.8G, we twisted our focus and really got focused on you. And we began having some pretty interesting guests on. We had Maria Elias coming on to talk about how we get ourselves healthy. And healthy and well, meaning not only what we eat, but how we move and how we exercise. We had Viola Brathwaite coming on to talk about those of us who get into entrepreneurship needing to be organized. And being organized does not mean, it's not difficult, having your accounts done and so on. So take a trip back to May and get to see those gems of a program. And Jen, you did some phenomenal programs, again, with finances and taking charge of self based on the coaching. And then we talked about, we did an interesting twist on space. We started to have our followers come in, and Diane Maslin gave us a beautiful example of how she redecorated her space to create a Zen environment as she climbed onto her 50+ stage. You know, that was made, that was in launch, and it seemed like so much. And then we went into June, and we really buckled down now, because we're saying we're 5.8G alive, and we're taking you on a journey. So we started to show you examples of how we can all create our phenomenal life on the third act stage. And we had Yolan Marcel, Anne-Marie Edwards, and Michelle Barton Romeo, and Barbara Bridgewater coming on about 3 shows in June. And those women turned stuff around.
Very powerful, Terri-Ann. Yeah.
You know, Yolan talked about coming from separation and recreating her life and recreating career. And Marie Edwards was a firebrand with community and friends and keeping friends together and doing things with friends. Barbara Bridgewater was one who was really impacted by Jennifer's talk on mind, body, and soul, keeping people in tune, and talked about her work with the community to keep herself engaged. And of course, we had Miss Madam Moringa talking about how she used her land and her gardening to create products and support and feed her family, you know? And I think at the end of the year, just before the end of the year, we had that powerful program, just before the end of the middle of the year, sorry.
Yeah.
We had that powerful program with Gregory Maguire, where Gregory did that wonderful tracing of our 5.8G, our economic history, to show how much we had been subsidized, which we have made the pandemic a little bit more difficult for us. And that we are the ones, because we are now older, we got all the benefits, so we've got to stand on our own going forward. The states have to focus on the younger ones. And Jen, he talked about the 5 dragons. And Jen, as I was doing this, I just looked, and I thought, now, the 5 dragons were making sure our health being well-being, make sure we are an asset to ourselves. Secondly, our housing situation. Is your house an asset or an albatross around your neck? Then he talked about the car. A lot of us would have carried cars. And as we, Jennifer, that reminds you of something? Now that you reach here.
Actually, I was having a similar conversation with somebody last week who was wondering, you know, feeling a little badly about keeping their car, and I was sharing that story too. Why?
Yes. And then we talked about being squeezed between the other 2 dragons. We still have, because we probably started childbearing late, because we have cut careers that we had to focus. So we had children entering post-secondary and tertiary education or tech work or starting careers that we needed to support. At the same time that we had ailing parents, Jennifer. Listen, but even though that was a powerhouse, I think the real thing that turned the first half on the head that really set us off to go into the second half of the year was Onika Henry talking about us and our sexuality.
Yeah.
Which opened up an entire scope for us. And I really looked at, I'm just talking about the first half of the year. We were building momentum. Jen is going to get into the second half of the year. But I look at that, Jen, and I am just so proud that we did so much change to our business. We really focused it, we positioned ourselves well, and we really had guests to start the ball rolling. And I was just excited looking at that. But then I have to keep my heart rate steady because the second half of the year is still to come.
Yeah, Terri-Ann, and I must again, I mean, we have been thanking our guests and all those who support us, and of course, you, the audience, our supporters, our followers. You know, Terri-Ann, that was a lot listening to you go through, you know, each month. And I know we just covered this just to set tip of the iceberg without going into heavy details. But what we would love is for you to go back, check the YouTube and revisit, you know, those that you missed, or even, you know, when you revisit,
Facebook,
you can just see the show again and you go and look at it again. You would realize you pick up something, you know, something new. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the review it's a lot. Yeah. So I'm gonna do from July. Feel pleased if I may not have called all the names as Terri-Ann has done, but we had many guests on our YouTube. You would see we acknowledge all our guests on our YouTube in terms of the topics we did and the guests and you know what they spoke about. All right, Terri-Ann. So let's look at continuing. So the second half, Terri-Ann, you know, the first half was a lot of the preparation and setting up the tone and everything. And from July, I would say was fast paced. All right. So July, and I just put in them more or less. What I did is look at the months and just put a theme onto it because we don't have the time to go into all the details. So July, we thought, okay, let's do relationships because at 50 plus, they have a lot of underlying problems and we scared to talk about, and we started the ball rolling when we had Onika on about sexuality and everybody was shocked. So we said, look, let's talk about relationships. So we had the dynamic of relationships and we had Frank Dolly, well-known psychologist, family therapist. And Frank had us, I mean, Terri-Ann, you remember that Frank had us really laughing. Yes. It was a learning experience, but it was fun. You know, the way it was delivered, very easy to grasp, you know, the information that was being shared. And then we moved on. If you think Frank was one thing, we had Maureen Bowen, other famed psychologist, very experienced. And Maureen spoke about living alone at age 50 plus. Yes. Because we have so many of us who live alone and feel, and we heard about loneliness and being alone and, you know, different ways about anxiety and the difference with anxiety and depression, etc. So we had Maureen there, and then we moved on, which was really an interesting topic. It was about fathers and daughters relationship with Ian Jeffers. But listen, we really had the best of the psychologists out there.
Yes,
and therapists. Coming to think of it, here are the names. I spoke about Frank Dolly, Maureen Bowen, and now Ian Jeffers, all the household names, you know? Yes. And that topic Ian spoke about, which was fathers and daughters, was quite interesting because it's a topic, you know, it's almost taboo. People don't want to talk about it. And the way Ian presented it and the points he made, and it was fantastic. We got a lot of calls after again on all three, yeah?
Yes.
You know, asking for more information. So you all could really look at those. And we ended the July with our emancipation celebration. We had the emancipation show. That was fantastic. Hannah, Terri-Ann, we really do have great guests. You know, we had our famed panelists, we had Dennis, we had Van Rick, we had Trevor on the saxophone, we had Van Rick, we had Lynette, we are.
You had a wonderful emancipation.
It was really, really a wonderful show. So from that, we moved into August. So after that emancipation show, Terri-Ann, we thought, let's talk legacy because this is serious.
That came straight out of emancipation.
Yeah, and about Black history and what we really do. And we started with us chatting about reflections. We did a lot of reflections on emancipation, what emancipation meant to us. And then we spoke about securing the African legacy. And we had elders, we had some fantastic guests again coming in, and each one of them gave their views. And that again was really, really something else. And we moved on after the elders, we moved on to the youths, the next generation, we call the new generation. And we heard again, we had 4 of them coming on and really sharing to us, really being how they felt about emancipation. And we learned a lot and they learned a lot, you know?
Yeah.
So for August was all about, you know, we went into the history, we learned a lot about that, what emancipation meant to us.
And Jennifer, just the conversation, the intergenerational conversation, it was so interesting.
Yeah. So from August, you know, we need a whole day to talk about this. So August, we were talking about, that was really heavy into the pandemic and the lockdowns and all the different things. And, you know, a lot of talk about pivoting and what we would do and what we would not do. And again, we moved in because at the end of August, we started August with emancipation, but remember, we had the independence. So at the 1st of September, because right on to the independence, following the independence, we spoke about being independent. What it's like to be independent? How are you being independent? And we moved in because of and this was fun too, with Marina Torres Woods, when we spoke about online principals, the grannies who became the online principals, who had to learn technology, you know? So that was good. And Marina really shared a lot, gave us a lot of tips as grannies and grandpas, how we dealing with the online. We spoke about reconnecting with the 5.8G tribe. We spoke also the following week about creative legacy, where we had the OMG gang. And this was all about pivoting. This is all about the different ways that people were pivoting. And we had Cecilia Salazar, we had Richard Young, we had Penelope Spencer.
Yes.
And that again was so much fun, and because theater was almost, you know, dormant.
Yes.
Yeah, and we were wondering how they were making out, and they shared with us, nice fun way, but very serious.
And they are all part of the 5.8G.
Yeah.
They are all there, yes.
So we moved on in that same month in terms of pivoting. We, that month also, the ending of that month of September was the International Day of Older Persons. So we chatted about that, you know, what's happening with our tribe, our elders, etc. And we moved into October. Following that's actually celebrating our elders, you know? And in our show, celebrating our elders, of course, we started with Dr. Jennifer Rouse, gerontologist, who gave a beautiful, real nice, fun chat about elders and given us great insights, you know, or what we can do, and we made some very, very great recommendations. Then we followed Dr. Rouse with Dr. Lauren Patience, who spoke about health and wellness. I tell you, we've had just, I'm so proud, Doug. We have had the most fantastic guests at the highest level of their profession. Huh? I mean, it wasn't just a guest, but high level of profession. Yeah. So we had, as I said, if I miss out, it's because I'm trying to cover up, but we covered a lot. And we moved on and still celebrating the elders. We spoke about celebrating older persons. We spoke about long-term care, you know, and we mentioned, we went into the being in the type of facilities, you know, that there are different type of facilities. We learned a lot about the different type of facilities.
We had this home there.
Yeah. And, you know, we went into detail. And, you know, Terri-Ann, what is great, in each program, if we didn't bring on actual guests, we had some great references. You know, in sharing the stories, we were able to refer persons, you know, to the facilities, or give them some tips or steps how to go about, you know, in terms of their wellness. We ended there really with about the finances, making the best of resources, where we had Keith King. Again, Keith was managing director, First Line. Where Keith really was able to break down all of us who didn't know much about investments and risk and things. Keith broke it down very simple that everybody was able, you know, able to understand.
And Jen, remember, all of this was part of our following that novel, The Sky Gets Dark Slowly.
Oh, yes.
So
and we went through that
the journey. Wonderful.
We did that full journey on that. And then so that was October. It's a lot, huh? So we moved on to November. And again, you realize that we just followed through on our teams. So after we discussed celebrating the elders, we recognize that, listen, celebrating the elders is great, but to keep the elders happy and well and in good health, we need help. So for the month of November, we spoke about, you know, taking care of yourself, because you have to take care of yourself before you could help others. And we went through, we discussed, let's be real, about aging and all the different aspects about aging. Then we say, okay, we can't just be uptight and be worried, and then we have to look at our mental stress, etc. We say, yes, you know what, you could have fun. Aging is fun. So we spoke about finding your groove on the third act stage. A lot of fun. We had Gideon over telling us about the music and all the different instruments we could play, and we had Michelle Hernandez coming on to tell us about dance. Yes. So, you know, that was fantastic. We talk about getting spruced up, and we had our barber coming on to tell us how we could get, you know, we had a look at, hey, Terri-Ann, you saw my new hairstyle, as I say, trim and barber. So I got trimmed and decided to go gold for the, to go gold for the Christmas, you know. So we spoke about getting spruced up and barber, you know, coming home to you when I said this time instead of you going out. And we did talk about having more hands, and we had Carol coming on, and Carol has an agency, and Carol was able to tell us all about the different help, all different type of help. And depending on your finances, you could still get help, you know, and she shared with that. And we went on to, in December, you know what time going, Terri-Ann, but we started December. And we thought, you know what, we covered, as I said, we covered all these different topics about aging, etc. And we keep telling you all about self-care and taking care of yourself, and that you can reach out. And we thought, as the co-creators, that we should share our story to show you that, hey, we know different, but it's how you handle your situation. Terri-Ann started, as you said, very early in the year. We spoke about mindset, and we thought in December coming down, we should really tell you again, remind you about having a positive mindset. So we had coming on that I spoke to you all about my story, my reset. Then Terri-Ann came on, and that's very recent, so I know you're remembering this. Terri-Ann came on to talk about her reset. And just last week, we say, you know what, it's Christmas. And we shared with you, not just a celebration of Christmas, but we wanted to be real and share the other side that we have to be very, very conscious of in terms of preparation. And we mentioned during this pandemic, we need to put things in place. So we have a lot to talk about. And Terri-Ann, what popped up in my mind, and this, I know somewhere along the line, but this stayed with me because it's a very important topic of Ubuntu.
Ubuntu actually was in June or April, May or June.
Community.
Where we talked about community. That was with, I apologize. That was
that's early on
with when we had Barbara and we had oh God, just skip it. Cut this man.
No, that's okay.
Yolande. When we had Yolande and Barbara, and also
so we had Roland. Roland came on.
Yes. He came on in that session also, and we were talking about all of that. Yes.
So I know in talking, because there's a lot to cover, but somewhere that just, I don't know the name, just not a don't know. You know, we had.
I actually have it in my notes, and I just missed it.
Our guest has such an impact on us. So Terri-Ann, we reached December, and I know our timing.
But so Jennifer, we forgot one other very important thing that we did this year. We started from the month of July, our Friday evening forums.
Once a month. Fantastic.
And that started, we had the sexuality and repeated it.
Oh, yes.
We repeated it. We had one with more all the issues around the law. We had another forum where we were driving ourselves into the, we had Alison Gibbons Joseph.
Yes, we had Dr. Gibbons. Yes,
Dr. Gibbons, sorry. Dr. Gibbons. And then we had one where we had the group talking about their talents, where we sat down and everybody talked about what they wanted to do.
Yes.
And we got who wanted to be an artist, who wanted to do pun, and all. So our Friday evening forum small group was another. It
was really great.
Yeah. Hold on, Diane.
So we did a lot. And I must thank you all, because the feedback, Terri-Ann, has been fantastic. And the feedback, although we are hoping 2022, the feedback is not behind and the back to give a call, but you actually putting it on so others could see and you know, hear how you felt. But that, Terri-Ann, was 2021 in review.
Yep. So, people, we take a little pause, have a great time, go back and look at 2021, because in a minute, we're going to start talking about 2022.
Yes.
Great. So, Jennifer, we did so much in 2021, and we really didn't get into everything. Jennifer, 2022. You know, the other day we were talking, and in 2022, we were in March. April actually, we will have celebrated our we would be celebrating our 3rd anniversary. And Jennifer, you know, for startups, completing 3 years is a milestone. Yeah. And this would be 3 every week. We put a different show forward. Yeah. All right. So you all are part of this journey. This journey is not Jennifer and I. It is both of all of us. And Jennifer, you had a beautiful idea in terms of preparing for the new year. So we're going to do an exercise and we want you to be a part of it. So Jennifer is going to tell you what about it.
Yes, what we found, as you said, this year in review, we covered so much. And Terri-Ann, you find, you know, and you would know too that our followers, friends would say, what happening in 2022? I hope, you know, because they're all excited. And I thought, you know, we need to take action. And we said that in this last, we're taking action. And we felt you can journey with us and let's do a vision board. But that vision board is not just you listening to us and it's not just step by step. You're actually doing it with us. So get ready. Just a tip, just a little idea about what it is all about. So I want you to look around. Hope you didn't throw out everything in your house. Get either a big poster. It could be, you know, and they sell it in the bookstores. It can be one like a big sticky pad, right? It's the size of
it can be digital. For the adventurous, it could be digital.
Well, you know, you know, as you said that, Terri-Ann, we will do it 2 ways. We will do it 2 ways. We will show you 2 ways. We will be digital in one way, and we're going to be doing it on the either Bristol board or board the other way. So for those who digital, just start to practice using it, you know, look for the program and we can do it digital. And for those who not, just get a Bristol board or a big piece of board, because what you're really doing with that vision board is really putting on all your thoughts, what you plan to do. And we're not just putting on, we actually going to be doing it.
Looking at images, right? Lots of images that represent.
So find your images, whether it's online or you actually look into magazines and you start cutting out your images. And just before, we will just send you some little tips and guides, and we're looking forward to that. So that's how we start in 2022. No talk, action. It's time for action.
Definitely. No, Jennifer, I have to keep saying this was such an exciting year. I mean, the 2 years, 2020, 2021, the pandemic years, but we went through them. Yes, the pandemic is around us, but it doesn't stop us. And I just hope that if there's anything that our Connections tribe has gotten now, is that we are really in charge of our destiny and building this third stage. And we're going to continue no matter what is going on.
Because we are here to help you through the time. Now, we're very well aware, as everybody is, what is happening outside here, which is not easy. Every day, you know, you hear any negatives, how many deaths, etc. I mean, and we have all been affected in some way. I mean, I had to say farewell to a very, very good friend yesterday, and it's not easy. So we are aware, but we have to continue. We have to support each other and continue, as we say, about being positive, because we have to live. And not just live, we have to achieve our goals, and we still have to enjoy a quality life, and we can do it. You know, so we are there helping you, and we continue to help you into the new year by starting with that vision board in January.
Great. Yeah. So you got your review. Go look at all the reviews and stay tuned on Facebook, and whether it's and you'll be getting reminders of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
with our vision board and what's required. So,
Terri-Ann, let me ask our audience, all those who are listening, please, you need to go YouTube, subscribe. You know, you come on and you look, but it makes a difference to us when you subscribe. And subscribe doesn't mean you have to pay any money. Subscribe just means you click so you would know what's happening with us. On those who on Facebook, please send to your friends because they love the show also. Don't just come on. You come on, great. We love you coming on. But like the page also. Right? So for the YouTube, subscribe. For Facebook, like the page. And share. That's how we can, you know, have our audience. All right?
definitely.
Yeah. That would be our New Year. That would be your New Year gift to us.
So for all of you throughout the Caribbean, throughout Gaia world, through YouTube world, through Facebook world, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere that you find us, Jennifer and I have been absolutely delighted spending these years with you. This year, no difference. We know you had a wonderful Christmas.
Happy New Year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful New Year. For those of you, I know some of you may have had a very tough Christmas because we are in a pandemic. You may have been affected.
Not easy.
A loved one, whether it is to COVID or to something else. Be strong. Be resilient. We're coming again. We're definitely coming again. So, vision. Next week is New Year's.
Next week. And as I said, you know, as hard as it is, you know what I think, Terri-Ann, and I must say this. When you, and this has happened, so I'm talking about what has actually happened in my life. When you have lost a loved one, especially those who are really close, whether it's husband, brother, sister, sibling, it's not easy to come out of it. I know that. And we always advocate for prayers. But when you ask yourself, and I have done it, how would that loved one want you to live or continue their life? Would they want you to, they would understand that you're grieving for them. But would they want you to just sit back and get into depression and just not live? Or would they love you to move on, understanding that you're in pain, understanding that you're grieving, but yet still have them in your mind, in your heart, while you're doing things? And say, you know, like in my case, I would say, I know they're happy for me if I am successful. I know they're happy for me if I can move on, if I can go back to my work, if I do these things. They're still in my mind. I love them. These are the loved ones you have close. So look at it in that way. How would they like you to live? Understanding that you're grieving. You know, it is not easy. And we are the ones, Terri-Ann, you know, you can't grieve for somebody else. You don't know it. Each one of us, you know, personalities and things different. So we have to get out of it ourselves, hold on to your loved ones, the memories, and know how they want you to live and move
Jennifer,
ahead.
You can give a word to those who are grieving but have no loved ones that have departed. They're just so overwhelmed by COVID and everything else that they've decided to go into a grieving process and recluse themselves from the world.
You're reclusing from the world, just hurting, not just hurting you, but you have people around you who care, no matter what.
Yeah.
And doing that, you shut down, but you're putting pressure on others when you shut down. You're putting a lot of pressure on others when you shut down. And you have to think about that also. Yeah.
Everybody, visioning next year. Look for your images, look for what you want your life to be, and let's have some fun. So, So Jennifer, as we get into celebrating the new year, let us, in spite of the fact that we're virtually here, let's lift a toast to what we expect in 2022.
Right, 2022. Happy New
Year. See you next year. Be healthy, be safe, and be happy. Bye.
Yes, it's important. Bye.
50 Plus tribe and followers from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.